pumped all the money into the market, inflation is out of control, it jumped up another 113%. So if your money is at risk, you're probably going to sit down with somebody that can protect it. Trust me. I want to go down memory lane. So this was, I showed this last 2 weeks ago, but $8 trillion was wiped out in the market less than a month in 2020. In 2020, 8 trillion, right? And so we talk about, where is your money? Are you making any different changes, right? And we like to say that billionaires can lose millions. It's not a problem. Multi-millionaires can lose hundreds of thousands. It's not a problem. But the blue collar worker, the person that only has so much money, they can't afford to take any loss, especially in your late 50s, 60s, and 70s, right? So we want to talk about the 401k. I'm going to show you a video real quick. We're going to talk about what has happened in the market back in 2007 and 2009. Allow this video to kind of scratch. Oh man, they're going to make us watch a commercial. All right. Check this out.
The effects of the current economic crisis.
I'm going to forward it so you don't watch it.
Chances are your monthly 401k statement will remind you that you've lost a good.
And you can, it's called the 401k fallout, right? Just write that down or text it to yourself and then watch it every day. Check this out.
It is true at this point in time. And that's what I'm saying. That's our bird right now.
We can't live our vision of our dream of retirement. That's the worst part. Many people can't.
And what was your dream?
Our dream was to have a log cabin up north, Leland area, and just live a nice, quiet life. And we can't do that.
Do you think you'll ever be able to retire? I can see that day. I no longer see that day.
What kind of retirement plan allows millions of people to lose 30 to 50% of their life savings just as they near retirement? David Ray, president of the profit-sharing 401k Council of America and a lobbyist for the 401k industry, says it's one that empowers people to make their own investment decisions.
401k is the
True.
absolute best way people can save for retirement. They absolutely are the best retirement vehicle we have.
You say it's the best available if it has let down tens of millions of people at the time they need the money the most.
That's not a 401k problem. That is our entire system. Went down for everybody. Nobody was saved in the current budget structure.
Ray says that many people
That's
still
a
have
lot.
more money in their 401ks than they actually contribute. He says everyone has multiple investment options, including low yield guaranteed returns. He believes people who lost money have no one to blame but themselves.
In America, there's a society based on freedom and choice and personal responsibility. We need to help them understand these responsibilities and execute them to the best they can. 401k is part of it. There are no guarantees.
About the people who are 63 or 64. A lot of those people are thinking about retirement.
Well,
And now they are.
well, I mean, they're
More retired and have to go back to work.
well, but that was not a 401k problem. That's an investment system problem. The markets go up and down, and if those people chose to take equity risk, there was a logic.
But in fact, the 401k plans that have become the primary source of retirement income for 60
So
million
I'll stop that there.
were
This is a
never
really
designed
good
to be
video.
retirement plans in the first place. They were
It gets really, really good, guys. What happens is they get to ask them some more questions and dig a little deeper, right, into the 401k system and stuff like that. And they hold them to the fire on some questions that consumers have no idea exist. And one was like, can they actually expect the money to come back? And it's like, no. You just watch the body language though, where he's kind of like, you know, trying to tiptoe around it, just saying you're screwed, and it's your fault. Because in the late 70s and the early 80s, big corporations said, hey, we're not doing this anymore. We're not funding pensions anymore. And we found a tax code called the 401k tax code, and we'll use that. Now it's on you. So it's on you. So where are we at today? This is a snapshot of Friday when the market's closed. These are all 6-month pictures for you guys, okay? So NYSE, the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and the Russell, they're all down 6 months. So barring just a record date tomorrow when the market's open, they're gonna be red for 6 straight months, just so you know. But on TV in the morning, all the stock shows, they show 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 days. They'll do a 1-year snapshot, and then they'll kind of get back to the 1 and 2 days what's going on. This is a 6-month snapshot. So unless the market rate just goes bananas tomorrow morning, it's down 6 months. All of it. And so this is one of my favorite quotes right here. President Trump and I don't have 401k. There is no insurance policy that will insure a 401k. That is author Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Obviously, it's in Time Magazine. They got a big article on that. You can pick that up if you want to see it. And so it just depends on where you're at in life, right? 401k may work for you, but for the vast majority of the United States, it has not worked out. It just depends on where you're at in life, but there's a lot going on in life, right? So let's get into this IUL. I like this picture. Yeah. Never give up, right? You're gonna have to choke the IRS out of your, you're not getting my money, right? We're not sharing my retirement money with you. It's not happening, right? But you know, how are you going to reduce future taxation, right? Get higher rates of return on your money and then protect the principal. When you retire, do you want to share your pile of money or enjoy it with your family, right? Somebody thought they were going to have a meal. So what is this IUL thing here? I think I've shared this here before, but kind of look at this, guys. There's all these different accounts, and then you go down the road and say, you put a green check mark or red check mark, right, for X. So when you hit retirement, is your money going to be distributed to you tax-free? No 1099, right? IUL, yes. Does it have growth potential? You know you can't grow money in the bank. We know that already, right? Can you lose it? Not in the bank, not in an FIA. We talked about that before, IUL. And you go down. So a lot of folks don't talk about these because they don't have the license to even have the conversation, right? So you wouldn't go to a brain surgeon if you had a snapped tibia, right? It's just they don't talk about it if it's not licensed. And so we're the no family left behind. We're going to show you what this is all about. There it is. They call it the 3-in-1 solution. The 3-in-1 solution, and then it's backed and it's tied to all these different tax codes, all these different tax codes approved by Congress and CPAs that are aware of them, right? 3-in-1 solution. It's called the family bank strategy. You've got the critical illness, terminal illness, and chronic illness riders in this IUL. And then it also has a funeral concierge package, so you don't have to go out and buy a whole funeral plan and be taken to the bank because you're just not aware how it all works. But we talk about perks. You protect your money at all times, 365 days a year. You have no risk of loss of principal. You got emergency access. There is no 59.5 at all. It's tied to life insurance. Your money is in life insurance. You use it as a supplemental retirement strategy. You can start these for your kids. So you got 529 plans, or you can start one of these. I have one on all my grandkids. All my children have one, except for one, my oldest who has type 1 diabetes. And then you got the savings component. I brought brochures today for you guys. These brochures are right there on the table in the back, shows you what the floor is, and then there's a cap. Everyone in this zip code, everyone in San Diego needs one of these in their hand. The floor on this particular product is 0.75. That's the floor, meaning it protects all your wealth. And then the cap in the S&P is 13.75%. No bank, no credit union, no other companies doing this in San Diego. And then you got a 0.75 on the floor on the global and a 15% cap. Credit interest savings in writing, in black and white, in this product. And then you have all these different tax codes that type. So let's get into some more. I'm gonna show you a real quick video from a CPA who does not sell life insurance. Mr. Ed Slott. Definitely want to follow him if you're on social media.
Let's switch gears to another way to eliminate huge taxes. Life insurance. Just so you know, I say on every program, I do not sell life insurance. I don't sell stocks, bonds, funds, annuities. I'm a tax advisor and an educator. And as a tax advisor, I'm advising you to take advantage of the single biggest benefit in the tax code, and that is the tax exemption for life insurance. You've heard me talk about the incredible leverage and tax-free benefits of life insurance, mainly for your heirs. And a payout this big, you turn relatively small amounts of taxable money into a tax-free windfall for your family. They'll end up with millions more than you ever had, all tax-free. It's truly the best tax leverage available under the tax code, potentially better than you think, especially if you're thinking, what's in it for me? Anyone thinking that? In these volatile and uncertain times, you need to focus on investments that give you control, options, flexibility, and certainty. And you want to remove both stock market risk and tax risk. And you want to guarantee, and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with certain kinds of permanent life insurance. Most people think of life insurance as something that pays off after you're dead. That's true. But what if I told you that you can have tax-free access to your life insurance during your lifetime, so you could use it for yourself? You can begin moving large amounts of money from taxable accounts into a tax-free permanent life insurance policy. The money grows tax-free inside the policy. It's harder than ever today to make money on your investments. So the last thing you want to do is share any of your hard-earned gains with the government. You don't have to if those gains are earned within a life insurance policy. If your money's going to grow, may as well grow tax-free, right? You need to realize that life insurance is an investment, but it's better than your typical investment accounts because it's tax-free. Oh, and one more thing. Life insurance comes with something else that you can never get from the stock market. A guarantee. But how much can you invest? Well, that's up to you and the tax rules. Believe it or not, this is an area where you might want to invest the maximum you can into the policy. If you're approaching retirement or already retired and looking to shelter more of your taxable money into a tax-free vehicle, this might be the place for you. But the mistake most people make at this stage of life is trying to pay the least for the policy. So you might be thinking, how can paying less be a mistake? Everybody wants a good deal because this is an investment, not an expense. If you were saving money in a bank account, would you want to put in the most or the least? Of course you want to put in the most because this is your savings. You should look at permanent life insurance the same way, except that the investment is tax-free. So why would you keep money growing in a taxable account when it can be transferred to a tax-free investment? If you have taxable IRA funds, you can, in effect, convert your IRA to life insurance. Pay tax now at low rates on distributions from your IRA, and then using that money to fund your life insurance investment. That accomplishes two things. You reduce your future tax exposure in your IRA by taking distributions now, and you build up a tax-free source of retirement funds should you need them. If it turns out that you don't need to tap into your life insurance for retirement income, then the life insurance benefit builds for your family. Also income tax-free, and for most people, it'll be estate tax-free too, depending on the estate tax exemption level. This is truly the best leverage available, and it's all under your control. Once again, I do not sell life insurance, but as a tax advisor, I gotta tell you that the tax exemption for life insurance is the single biggest benefit in the tax code. Make it a part of your retirement savings plan and your estate plan. But remember, this area of your life is a little tricky. You must do it the right way to receive all the benefits I'm telling you about. Now is the time to create a plan to rescue your retirement and move your money from accounts that are forever taxed to accounts that are never taxed. It's the taxes.
All right.
You know,
So
these two moves along Roth IRAs and life insurance can single-handedly remove most of the taxes you or your beneficiaries.
All right, so we kind of get it, kind of get the drift. I don't want to keep this going for sake of time, but kind of getting back to it. So there's, we just kind of break it down, right? You kind of know how that works. And then there's the FIA, that's a totally different product there. That's the annuities. And so highest paid head coach at the time, right, in the NCAA. What did they give him when he got hired? He used to be San Francisco 49ers head coach. Then he got hired at Michigan, University of Michigan. His name is Jim Harbaugh, right? Jim Harbaugh gets hired, boom, IUL, right? This is in Forbes. IUL cash value within policy, gross tax free, all the highlights of the IUL, right? What we're doing is bringing this to middle America. Middle America doesn't know this stuff exists, right? Only the affluent and the high net worth have been taking advantage of these products for decades on decades on decades. Yes.
You mentioned last week, IUL,
I,
changing O.J. Simpson. I didn't quite get that. Could you please repeat?
yeah, I don't know if I put it in here, but if you think about it, I may have it on this slide, I may, but I do have the picture. But when O.J. Simpson was released from prison, it was the same day at the MGM Grand. There was a big shooting at the MGM Grand, right? At the country concert. Same night. What a coincidence, right? Same state. But the following March, he got taken to court by the Goldman family, and he owes them $70 million, right? And the judge said, have a very nice day, right? And it's because these IULs and stuff are protected from civil suits, right? Creditors, no one can touch the money. IRS can't go on that money. That's your life insurance. It's your life insurance, right? And so I have a picture of it, believe it or not. It may be in this slide, but if not, it's definitely in my phone. And so executives, this is the GE proxy, right? 2017 public statement, GE proxy. This is right before GE got delisted from the Dow 30, right? They got delisted from the Dow 30. Top executives in GE. You know, I used to laugh about it because when I was on active duty, we used to complain. Our premiums would go up $5 every 5 years, you know, with Prudential. But look at what they're putting into their life insurance. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? But check out the 401k plan for the company. That is the company match, right? GE's matching contribution. They put zero into those plans, nothing. But the employees get the 401k. Isn't that interesting? I got a book in the back called Money, Wealth, and Life Insurance, how the wealthy use life insurance as a tax-free family bank. And here's some of the stories you'll find in that exact book. Stanford University, the Pampered Chef, Walt Disney, all these folks, J.C. Penney's, right? Ray Kroc, they all saved their businesses through their permanent life insurance policy. When the market tanked, they leveraged their life insurance policy to save their business. Real deal. Foster Farm as well. And so these are some checks. Remember I talked about whether you live too long, die too young, right? Or you get very sick, very, very sick, whether it's a stroke, heart attack, cancer, it doesn't matter. These are some of the checks that we've sent out to clients, right? Literally out of those policies, out of that critical, chronic, and terminal illness riders. This lady right here is actually in our company. She's diagnosed with cancer. She wants the world to see this. Out of her policy, Transamerica cut her a check for $247,000 while she's living. Instead of tapping into your retirement, your 401ks, TSPs, whatever you got, IRAs, leverage these life insurance companies. They'll cut you a check. Soon as the doctor says you got stage, blah, 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 check in the mail. It's not reimbursable. It's a check in the mail, it's indemnity. And so we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Remember we said there's a lot of things that we can't control. So many things that stacked up against us, right? The cards are stacked up against us, all these different things. So then we say, use IUL as a, in addition to. That doesn't mean you stop all your other investments and you just say, I want the one bullet. I'm just gonna put all my money in IUL. That's not what we're saying. We're saying is leverage IUL, add it to your portfolio. There's room for it, right? Make room for it. because life will happen. And there's just some situations that's going on that are near and dear to our heart, right? Longevity, people running out of money, dying too soon, right? The critical illness, you don't know when you're going to get diagnosed with something, right? So we say worst case scenario, run back, let's go over this worst case scenario, right? You go to work and then you have a stroke at your desk. Take me through what's going to happen after the stroke. Take me through the loss of income, the whole nine. And they go, oh, wow, I never thought about that, right? And we already know for the men in the room, 1 out of 3 of us is going to get cancer. Like guaranteed, right? And on top of all the other health conditions we can have, including this trauma. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with a gentleman named Wes Motter. Does that name sound familiar? You ever see him on Fox News? Wes Motter, very conservative lieutenant commander. He was a Navy chaplain. I served with him at the helicopter wing on North Island. Me and him, I have pictures, believe it or not. Last March 22nd, we were on a Zoom together. But he's very controversial because the Navy was trying to strip him of all his rank, his benefits, right? Because he's a Christian, right? And he stood up for what he stood for. And it was a big battle. It went to like Supreme Court, that big. Well, we Zoomed last March 22nd, and he passed away by August, right? And we didn't get to go over all of this, right? He was looking for work, blah, 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 things like that was going on. But we talk about no family left behind, and I felt horrible, because I didn't take care of him, right? I didn't dive into his financial circumstance. And so again, this is what we do, right? My office, I put some business cards in the back. You can definitely have definitely take one of these brochures, and you can tell people about this, and then you can take one of these as well. Good to go, take one home. But this is what we do in our office. We do not charge for no fee, you do not pay us a fee, you'll never cut me a check. But we go over a financial needs analysis, right? We figure out where you're at and then help you goal plan, right? Based on your lifestyle, what you want to see happen. When we talk about increasing cash flow, college planning, the emergency funds, we always talk about, right? We saw it in the beginning of COVID. It wasn't that like just families were unprepared. Businesses were not prepared, right? And so we want our business friends to be prepared for anything that comes along down the way, right? And then obviously proper protection, take care of your family. That's just a no-brainer there. And then we're gonna help you build that wealth, outpace inflation, reduce your taxes, right? Make sure you never lose money ever going forward, and then reduce that tax burden going forward and build a legacy for your family. All we have to find out is what's most important to you. And everybody's different. Everybody's at a different stage. Question.
Thanks, Byron.
You're welcome.
As I listen to this, I guess the first question is, given the benefits, why are people not, or maybe flocking to take some of their 401k money and put it into a vehicle like this? Is it just the ignorance, the financial ignorance, or what people are never taught in school?
Absolutely. What it is we talk about in our industry, there's a distribution crisis, right? So you think about all those ships that have been stuck out in the middle of the water, right? They can't pull into port. Okay, so the distribution in the United States right now, the only distribution out there is 401k, right? That's all the commercials, 401k, IRA. Now you got the Bitcoin. That was a really good program last week. We couldn't hear it all, but we enjoyed it, right? Now you got Bitcoin, and you got all the distribution is heavy on the other side. But the distribution on our side has been shrinking. They say for decades, the distribution is going down, down, down. So for the younger folks, if you have kids who are in their 20s and 30s, what were they doing coming up in the last 10 years? Going into tech. You had Google, Apple, right, Tesla, right? All the Silicon Valley was being built for the last quarter of a century. No one's going into the financial industry, definitely not to teach this. So there's a distribution problem. So that's why, like, our firm in particular is very heavy on recruiting. We're building new distribution to get information out, right? And so people don't know what they don't.
Yeah, I got two.
Hey, that was a good question.
Byron, question, you said you set up for your grandchildren
I do.
and your children.
I do.
What kind of opening amount are you putting in this? Would you suggest or recommend?
So we say like for my grandkids are very young, obviously. I got a 1, 3, and a 4, right? right? So I started them off with $50 a month. So what you do is for them, you start $50 a month, maybe 4 years out, throw in $100 a month, because you can, right? $100 a month for maybe 5 years, and then after the 9th year, throw in like $250, and then after they're about 15 years old, stop. They're good for life, guaranteed, because you put them ahead of the game. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're getting compound interest, and they don't even know why. They're not.
Do you have a chart? Do you have a chart that shows the compound interest?
Yes, yes, yes.
For grandchild, like, and like suggested what it would look like in 30 years.
Yes, that's called an illustration. So we provide those, and we do them for multiple companies, right? So for like children, I'd probably do maybe global, Atlantic, Transamerica, and nationwide, right? Something like that. And I'll see the illustrations, and you can take a look. That's
We have a lot of appointments available next week.
yes. Everybody, I'm telling you guys, and I told Carlos a couple of weeks ago, there's a bank that's got built right by, similar where we live, right? A bank just opened up next to the Sprouts. And I weep for people. I don't cry. I weep, right? Because you know what I mean? People are taking hundreds of thousands and they want to protect it. That's a good move. Take the money and then throw it in a bank so it's protected. Where are you going to get 0.75 to 15? Where are you going to get 0.75 to 13.75? Where? Only us, right? So it's kind of weird being almost like the only guy in a 20-mile radius that's talking about this. And it's backed. Like we only deal with Fortune 500, right? And only the A-rated. There's plenty of companies out there, but we don't market for all of them.
Byron, is there a conflict of interest a little bit with school systems? In other words, they're pushing 401k.
Right.
Now, would they have, are they in bed with 401k people and they would not want you to chat with their members?
In so many words. So last week on the 21st, I did a Zoom with, it's in the county. There was over 60 people on the Zoom, and but I brought it in. I brought pretty much the same thing you see here, right? Because those employees need to know. The executives don't want anything to do with 401k at all. But for the employees, it's good because the company and the corporation get all the write-offs and all the tax credit. And so, as you've seen the guy on the 60-minute video, he said, it's absolutely the best program out there for, saving for, that's bull. It's absolutely bull. What it is the most convenient. And so what they're saying it's tax advantage. It's going to be tax advantage if you win the tax game. Meaning today, say you're in a 24% tax bracket today, and then you get into retirement with all this money, and then you end up in a 23 or 22% tax bracket. Then you won the bet. But look at how the cards are stacking up against you to not win that bet. How much? 30 trillion in debt, in national debt. The millennials are having less children than our grandparents. Back then they had four kids on average, and then today kids are talking about, I don't want no kids. I don't want to have any kids. So who's going to be paying in the taxes to fund everything going forward, right? We're not even really at war right now. There's a lot of things that are going to shift. The tax is going to have to go up in the future. And that's from, if you listen to the book in the back, Volatility Shield, The Retirement Miracle, the book called Power of Zero, and the forward in the book, The Power of Zero, there's the former CPA of the USA, right? CPA of the USA, right? He was the GAO, the Government Accountability Office chief. He says it's just a matter of a 4-letter word, and it's not kids, and it's not even the debt. It's a word called math. Because we're not stopping our spending habits in the country, right? We're still just coming up with new ideas, spending and throwing out the trillions. Somebody's got to pay that tab in the future. And so if you think about what Congress and Senate did in the last 2 years, they know how many trillions are sitting right here in the 401ks and IRAs. They can see it every day. So all of this money has not been taxed at all. That's when we talk about seed harvest. If you look at a watermelon seed, it's about this big. And if you look at a full-size watermelon, it's about this big. Do you want to pay taxes on $200 of the weight of that seed, or do you want to pay taxes on 200,000? Right? And the employees are not being taught. And so there is a conflict And the distribution is massive. It's massive. It's massive, right? And so, unfortunately, I would say no, because if you think about that, you're still dealing with securities on that side of the house, right? But on our side, it's backed by insurance. So your money's tied to an insurance company rather than anything dealing with security. But it could be similar, right? But yes.
Another question I have too on that. So if you invest in it, let's say that you have a decent sum of money, but you draw out of that account every month for your bills and stuff. Can you draw out of this monthly, or do you just leave it in for a long time?
Okay, so for the IUL, those are considered long-term strategies, right? You can access it. The money is liquid if you really want to pull money out of it, but they're really designed for you to accumulate wealth, build cash value, and then in retirement, pull out the money. Not initially, as soon as you put it in and start taking it out. It's not designed.
Similar to an annuity?
Annuities, yeah, it's different. It's a little bit different though, because annuities is just insurance on money, on cash only. IUL is you have a life insurance component into it, right? So you're paying for life insurance in that account. And so,
By the way, what Byron is saying is basically tax code. What I want what Byron is saying is actually very, very important. Remember, the tax codes were written by people that have money that want to preserve it. Don't kid yourself.
including Congress.
Including kind of like the wealthiest people are the ones in Congress, okay? So they have the inside scoop. So there are tax loopholes that people don't know about, just what is. And so what Byron's doing is actually terrific. He's actually educating people, tell you, hey, here's the loophole where you can actually make money. If you're gonna play the game, this is how you wanna play it.
They, in fact, in 2021, they just updated, like increased what you can put into these. Congress did it. They approved it. They said, okay, we need to kind of look at it. It's been a while since we did some updates to this 7702A. And now you can put more. Now you can put in more premiums into it. And that taps back into what he was just saying. They know they're sitting, they hold the power. And they're becoming pretty wealthy in Congress for some reason. Just saying. So that's,
What is the amount, the updated amount?
it depends on your premium. So pretty much, say you put in 500, now more of that 500 is going to go into accumulating cash value, right? They adjusted.
Is that $500 or 500,000?
It depends on what your one it is. Because some of our clients do annuals, right? They drop in $500
So
annual.
that's okay too.
That's okay too, right? But for like middle class, middle America, 500, 200, it doesn't matter, 1,000. One of my clients texted me this week. He's like, hey, I have 4 kids. They're 20, like 23, 20, 19, and he has 10-year-olds, right? So he's
Well, I guess that was it. Hope everybody enjoyed that.